Hello, and welcome back to the Jedi and the Spark Show. My name is Obi.
Did you forget your name for a second?
No, just a longer pause.
And I am Peju.
And together we are the Jedi
and the Spark.
Yes, sirree. So welcome back to episode 5. Episode
High five. High
Yeah,
five.
I'm not going to leave you hanging. Right?
High five for the 5.
This time. Well, yeah, so I'm excited because we got some exciting things to talk about.
Brilliant.
This time.
I'm excited. But before that,
Okay.
we keep kind of stopping each other and starting again. But I have a question
Uh-oh.
for you. If you could do anything in this whole wide world,
Yeah.
for the love of it, for the fun of it,
Okay.
what would you choose
Love,
to do?
Fun.
Anything at all.
Anything. Let me see. I'd absolutely be doing this. I would be putting out content.
Okay.
I would set up a show called the Jedi and the Spark.
Really? Okay.
Right. That is focused on equipping couples to thrive in all seasons, all areas of life, because there are things that we've learned and we want to share and direct people to resources. So I do that. I would do work in spaces where we are championing the next generation of leaders and inspiring them to. I would do things like
the Core 2025
event that we had, which was
awesome.
incredible.
Okay.
So I would do that.
Okay, so why aren't you doing them?
I am.
Are you? Okay. Oh, yeah, we are on the show. Yes, you are doing those things. Fantastic. What a joy.
Yeah, it is actually.
What
it's
a
a joy
joy.
to do stuff that you love. So
Absolutely. With who you love.
and who, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really special that get to do what I love with who I love. So
Love it. Do what you love with who you love.
yeah. All right. So today
I'm excited about
Why?
today because we're talking about plants.
no, we're not.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No, you obviously got the wrong memo, and maybe you've got the wrong notes as well.
Oh,
but
right, okay.
No.
Right.
Well, there
Make
is
sure they're right
a
side up.
connection.
Okay.
There is a connection.
Right.
We're not talking about plants.
All right.
But we are talking about what you sow into your relationship.
I just thought we were doing plants because I'm a natural plant mama. I love my plants. I speak to my plants. I nurture my plants. I actually learn. My plants are my teachers. One of my teachers. So no, we're not.
No,
I'm not going to get all my plants from. I'm not bringing them to the show.
Well, no, but what you said there though is really critical. Because we're talking about what you sow into your relationship.
Okay.
There's this saying, right? You reap what you sow. You get out what you sow. We know that in agriculture, the farmers know it in particular, right? You get what you sow. And a significant thing that we sow into relationships is our words. It's the things that we say. And when you were talking about plants and speaking to plants, I don't know if I've shared this before, but there's this incredible study that was done. And there were 3 different plants. It was the same type of plant, but three of them. And the first one, the owner of the plant or whoever conducted the study was saying terrible words to the plant. You're going to die. You're terrible. You don't deserve to live, right? All of that.
Oh, wow, poor plant.
And then,
I'm actually feeling the
yeah, as a
trauma.
plant mama. Yeah, this is one of the. Is there an equivalent of the NSPCC or the RSPCA for plants?
I think I
maybe
should start
right.
one, yeah.
So that was the
Cruelty
first.
to
That was the
plants.
first plant. The second one, nothing. It was
Okay.
just do what you want. Just grow as you need to. Nothing said. The third plant, the owner, whoever's doing this study, was saying, just speaking life into it. You're going to grow. Thank you for the oxygen that you give out, right? And the nitrogen that you take in and all of that. I think it's nitrogen or hydrogen. Anyway, That's not my expertise. However, what was amazing was afterwards,
tell us,
the first plant wilted.
Wow.
Right. Just the negativity. The first plant wilted. The second one grew okay. The third one was thriving.
You don't.
The power of our words. And I think that's the same thing in our relationships. What we speak into our relationships is important.
Yes. I was going to ask why we're talking about this. And I remember last episode 4,
sure,
when I referred to the power of words. So how are you using your words as a force for good?
Yes.
When we're talking about women naturally being more expressive,
sure.
And just really being cautious, careful, wise with the choice of words. So it's interesting if you made that about people. Now we're talking about plants, that study, the experiment. If you made that about people, how you speak to people, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, of course.
If there was a study, and I'm sure there are countless experiments without them actually knowing they're being experimented on, where young people are being told you're rubbish, you're stupid, you'll never amount to much.
Absolutely.
That's one. Next, set of people, nothing much is being said. You just let them grow, decide how they want to be. Then the third group of people, you're speaking life. You are amazing. Yeah. I'm so glad you're my child. It's wonderful to have you here. You're going to go places. Wouldn't that be interesting to see a physical, actual
demonstration of that?
What would those people turn out to look like?
I think we see it all the time. Organizations, for example, have employee opinion surveys, and when you drill down, it can be about the communication. It can be about what's being heard, what's being said to people. And one of the reasons this is important in any relationship is that, especially, let's say for most marriages, you start off and you're in love, and there are the cards, and there's the courting and the romancing, and the differences are really cool. Then they do that's different. I'm drawn to that's different. And then after a while in a relationship, you can start to focus on those differences and say things like, I don't like that. I hate that. I hate it when you do this. I hate it when you do that, right? Yeah, and start calling each other names. And we switch from building each other up, attracting each other, to tearing each other down with our words. And so really important to explore this. And we've learned from that, right? It's not what we're describing here isn't, hey, we read about it in a book or we heard it. I remember being on that journey that early on in our marriage, just experiencing that switch to, I don't like it when Peju does this. I don't like it when you do that. I don't like that. And I didn't notice that not only are you a words of affirmation person, and so my words were crushing you, but I didn't notice that there was a switch that I wasn't getting the joy and the connection from you. And a big part of that is how I use my words. Now, some people might listen to this, and this is where it can get really tricky. And I know I found this difficult is, does that mean I don't say anything? If I don't like something, or don't speak my truth, or if I'm upset about something, then how do I do it? Because it sounds, Obi and Peju, it sounds like you're saying, hey, let's just be flowery and let's just be nice about everything. And hey, lovely. Disney, this is cool. It's perfect. And they all live happily ever after.
Oh,
and
no,
I can never say that I'm upset about something. No. And this is where we've had some amazing people. We've said this, right, over time. We've had some amazing people who have spoken into our relationship. Should I share that, or do you want to say anything first?
Thank you. Before you say, I want to just highlight that there are a lot of children who are now older people. So there are a lot of older people who were children. Should I say?
Yeah.
A lot of older people.
Well, that's amazing, right? There are a lot of children who are now older people, That is phenomenal.
So there are a lot of older people who were children.
Yeah.
Who were like that first plant. So what they heard growing up was you're not going to amount to much, whether that was from the key caregivers in the home or even in school, the teachers. You're not going to amount to much. That's really stupid. You're very stupid. You're ugly. You're too fair. You're too dark. You're too tall. You're too fat. You're too skinny. No one's going to like you. No one's going to choose you. But then when you think about how those parents grew up, they probably didn't get the nurturing words either.
Sure.
So how do you give what you never had?
Yeah.
But also, fortunately, there are many older people now, adults who, as young people, were really nurtured with words, really cared for and empowered. And we see them even now thriving in their middle age and able to pass on what they know to be true to have helped them to their children. So we've been really blessed to have people in our lives in our marriage season. But I think even as young people, your mom was incredible.
She was,
very nurturing,
very supportive.
My parents were incredibly nurturing. I feel like their words gave life to my soul.
Sure.
And even into my old age, they championed me so much. So I just want to say, even backtracking, it's important that we recognize that a lot of people, this is foreign.
Yeah.
Obi,
yeah.
this is. Honey, I don't call you Obi. I didn't. I just said Obi. Who's that? Who's? I know you are. Yeah. So yeah, this is foreign.
Yeah. This speaks to something really critical here, which is we're talking about what you're sowing into your relationship. But there's also a complementary element, which is what are you sowing into yourself? What are you sowing into others as well? And I think I want to share a tool that we were introduced to. There's a great book that we'll talk about at the end as well. But it is thinking about our communication. And we were introduced to this great approach called Nonviolent Communication, or NVC. And it's phenomenal. It's got 4 components to it: observation, feelings, needs, and requests. Observation, feelings, needs, and requests. And so, for example, I'll talk through an example that could help people. That an observation would be, we're having dinner, and we had this as an issue early on.
We always fight
in
about
our
food.
marriage. We're having dinner, and this was even when we had already had kids, and I'm bringing my phone to the table and I'm working, right? And so a violent way of addressing that is, you're never present. You're always on your phone. You just don't care about me, right? It's work, right? And then I'm feeling the pressure. Yeah, but I had to get that in, and I didn't like your tone. I didn't like the way you spoke to me, and then it escalates,
even,
right? So that's a
in
really
front of the
violent
kids,
way of speaking. Versus nonviolent communication, observation. When I saw you on your phone during dinner, I felt disconnected. I felt that you weren't present. And I need us to have quality time as a family. So I'm moving into need. I need us to have, I value us having quality time as a family. I value us being close. I value us using this opportunity to reconnect with our day, right? Debrief with the kids, explore with them, and then the request, I'd love us to have phone-free dinners. I'm saying the same thing.
Sounds so different.
Saying the same thing, but without the venom and the anger. And here's the thing. I think here's the important thing to acknowledge. That all of those things are beneath that. And it was hard sometimes, say, when you would say something that would get my back up, it was hard to hear the need behind it. I just think, I don't like the way you said it.
Yeah. And I
felt disrespected. Just didn't like it. You upset me. And then before you know it, I upset you, you upset me. And then we're both upset. And then it just becomes messy. Whereas NVC is just incredible way of just saying, hey, here's what I observe, here's how it made me feel, here's my need and here's a request. And the other thing, especially I remember when we were being introduced to it, what I loved was I own it.
Yes, you're taking
I'm
responsibility.
owning, here's what I need, here's how I feel, rather than, yeah, you don't care and you're always, and it's, well, you don't care. And then I think, well, I do, but I care in this way. You don't love me, and well, I do, but I'm just doing it this way. Yeah, you can never be bothered, and all of that.
I hope I didn't sound like that at the dinner table. Who was that
I'm
woman?
Exaggerating for effect, right? But exaggerating 10%.
Who was that girl at the dinner table?
Hey, I think, that's so NVC is a powerful way of just sowing just health into the relationship that then means that we thrive.
Like the plant.
Like the plant.
And I think it's very disarming. I mean, hearing you use those two approaches. Sure. The second one, where you're owning and you're communicating without the violence in your words, it sounds like I want to listen. You've got my attention.
Sure.
I mean, we hear this growing up, right? That your words are powerful. Your words have power. And that definitely was one of the reasons I wrote my book, A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations, was just doing a lot of work with young people when I was working in the education sector, and just hearing a lot of young people put themselves down. Miss, I'm so stupid. Miss, I'll never get it. But I'm not as good as that person. Miss, I can't. I won't. I'll never. And then in my work of mentoring and coaching women, just the negativity of self-talk with women. And I remember this aha moment for me on the journey to writing the book was thinking, okay, you may not change your situation overnight, but surely if your language about your situation changes, I think things will begin to shift. So there's a sense in the book that I write about the power of sowing positivity, growing hope, flowing wisdom, being intentional about the words you choose to speak over yourself, over others, and even into your relationship, even when you're not there. How do I speak about our marriage when you're not there?
Nice,
That's key as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that is so key because this is, it's not just about what happened at dinner. It's just generally your language. I think one of the things that we've been quite intentional about is not calling each other names, right?
Yeah.
Not putting each other down. But then what do I say about my partner? What do I say about my spouse when they're not there? Right? Because that is, you might think, oh yeah, they're not there, they can't hear it. It still, it gives off energy, it gives off a vibe, it's sowing into it. So that's really, really critical.
I mean, it's not funny, but I don't even know why I'm laughing. I just remember times when I would be with a group of women, and sometimes women have these husband bashing sessions.
What?
And obviously you never know because you're never invited, but I would be in...
Because it's a husband bashing session.
And this was not the Abula hangout I talked about.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, but you know, there are times even when we were still quite young as a married couple, I'd go to hang out with some friends, with some women, and it would get quite negative quite quickly. My husband, he's just an idiot. Yeah, he's just a doofus. No, he's so useless in the home.
Wow.
And I would feel really uncomfortable, but I would also feel the pressure to put you down just because I was in that space, even though I didn't want to put you down. But I thought, I need to find something negative to say about Obi. And it was so unhelpful. I just stopped going to those sort of gatherings because I thought, I don't want to put down my husband, because the more we do it, you know what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. You live out what you speak out. You live nice out. One. Don't steal it. It's for the spark.
Can I borrow it?
You have to pay.
You live out what you speak out.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I just thought, actually, I'm not going to pretend that we're in a worse place than we are. I'm not going to put you down just to feel like I belong to these groups and to these gatherings. I would rather not go.
Sure.
Just to preserve the health of our relationship and to preserve my mental space about how I felt about you. Because if you're in a space where it's all negative, you leave feeling super negative. And then imagine me coming home and just thinking, oh yeah, all men are useless and you're useless and you're a doofus and you're no good around the house. I just thought, I'm not doing that.
That does not sound like thriving at all.
Sounds like dwindling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
shall we go on to some questions?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got 2 here.
Ooh.
I'll read them out and then we can decide which one we focus on first. First question is, what do I do if I feel like I've been sowing but not seeing results?
Wow.
Right. And then the second one is, how do I break the habit of speaking negatively in my relationship? I'm going to start off with the second one.
Good, because I want to go for the first.
Oh, do you? Okay. So how do I break the habit of speaking negatively?
Good question.
It is an amazing question. It really, really is. And there are a couple of things here. We've already talked about how some people grow up, right? And noticing the voice in your head and what you say to yourself. Because it's rare that we're saying to ourselves, hey, I think I'm amazing, I think I'm incredible, I think I'm this and that. Or, well, I say rare. I don't say, we never. I just say it's rare, okay? There's certain people. Right?
Lay my
Yeah, what I was going to say was that we say, yeah, I'm amazing, I'm incredible, I'm this and that. And then to the other person, we're putting them down. So sometimes just notice what's that voice in your head, and therefore you projecting what's in your head about yourself onto others. And so I think using NVC with yourself, just rather than, hey, nice. I'm terrible, I've not got that figured out, I'll never get it right, is, hey, I'm struggling with that. And what I need right now is some support. And so when you start to change that language internally for yourself, it'll also show up differently in your relationship. So that's something. It's just a way of breaking that habit is just noticing it for yourself. What are you saying to yourself? And then recognize that it's a journey. Recognize that it's a journey. And so when you've said something, do you know what? What I really want to say is, here's what I need right now. And it takes vulnerability.
It so does.
But that vulnerability is needed to grow that relationship and really speak life into it. So that's something that will help with breaking the habit, noticing what you're saying to yourself, and then apply the NVC both personally and in relationship. And when you get it wrong, just catch yourself and say, actually, that's not really what I meant to say.
That's great. I think what a lot of people need in their self-talk is compassion. Just to be compassionate, first and foremost, recognizing that you are a key part of your relationship. So if you repeat that first question, then I can...
So the first question, what do I do if I feel like I've been sowing but not seeing results? I've got a response for that as well, but you go first.
I just think that already in itself sounds quite frustrating. So I can understand for the viewers who are thinking, you know what, I'm doing that. I'm sowing goodness. I'm sowing positivity. I'm just not seeing the results. So I just want to recognize that is a frustrating place to be. And sometimes it takes time. Speak to people who farm, speak to people in the agricultural industry. It takes time for things to grow. It takes time for things to grow well. There's a process of the roots embedding, knowing that they're forming this intricate communication system. So I'd say it takes time, and don't stop sowing. Don't stop sowing. I've learned so much about the patience it takes to keep sowing into yourself, into your relationship, into your business, into others. It's the patience to keep doing it and to trust. Sometimes you have to let the seed do what only the seed knows to do, where you're able to pause and really see the effects of the sowing. So I'd say patience and trust are key in that season.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is, this certainly feels like a frustrating moment, right? Just I've been sowing but not seeing the results. So absolutely give it time.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to say is it's important to know when you need to get help, right? Professional help as well, right? Because sometimes there may be some deep things, especially when it's another relationship. Because what you're doing, because the assumption here is that they are sowing goodness and they are sowing the positivity. But I think we talked about this in a previous episode, control, influence, accept. You can really only control yourself and influence the other person.
Right.
But maybe there's some need for professional intervention to then address perhaps some of the blockers for the other person. So
Defo. And we've been very blessed to have people just sit with us and do that journey with us. So please don't feel like it's a no-no if you are in need of professional help. If you feel like, oops, that means we're completely done. No, it's really part of that journey to get over hurdles, get over barriers, and to begin to scale the heights together. So,
indeed.
Okie doke.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
One of our favorite moments. Well, actually, we enjoyed all of it. So this is time for Spin the Wheel. Alrighty, time to spin the wheel.
Okay, we've answered that one before.
3 things in common. We can still...
Okay.
Yeah, three things...
Let's do it again. 3 things in common.
In common. That is...
Should I go first?
Oh, then again, is it some of the same things that we've said
try
last
it again.
time?
Let's try it again.
Okay, wow. All right. Worst anniversary gift.
Okay, are we going to have our first podcast argument now?
Possibly. Do you know, I'm going to go first. I don't know if you...
Go. I can't think right now, but...
This is the worst anniversary gift that I received. So I've got to say this, first of all.
I don't even know what it is.
I'm going to say this, first of all. So generally, I'm the sort of person that thinks about, the gift's got to be there for the day.
Oh,
and you're more like, well, hey, it'll come, blah, 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 blah.
The whole month we can celebrate.
The whole month. So my worst anniversary gift is not having one.
Oh,
that was, I just didn't have one. I thought... You see, this is a stereotype, but you see in the movies, he forgot the anniversary. I'm thinking, no, she forgot the anniversary.
You're better. I must say, Ruby is much better at this than I.
So that was the worst anniversary gift, just not getting one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Now I know. So now, we're growing and we're learning together. So I know even the way OB grew up was like, if you think about birthdays or Christmas, on the day.
Oh, yeah.
For Obi, it's important to get something.
And Mum would give 2 birthday cards and things like that.
And have a bag of gifts. And
that's the planner. That's the planner in me. So
exactly.
Plan for that.
And for me, I'm like, okay, you know what I want. I can get it the next day or the day after. But I'm a big person for cards. So on the day I want to read an epistle, like lengthy in a card.
Don't just buy and say, sign love.
Oh, no. Please don't do that. Don't just, read somebody else's words and then love Obi. That's a no-no and you know that. Now I know. I'm learning. I don't know if I've had a worst anniversary gift. I'm not even going to pretend. I can't even think of one. I think that probably says I've been really blessed and I've always got really gorgeous gifts and gorgeous cards. And so spin the wheel. Sorry, not this time.
So I'm going to make sure that I hide the new blender that I got you for this upcoming anniversary. Just kidding.
I actually would love a blender.
No, right, yeah. But anyway.
I'm easy to please. I'm easy to please, yeah.
Wow, okay. That's it. We have talked about... plants, well, not quite, but along the lines of just what we're sowing. Look at what you're reaping in your relationship. Look at the results, and guarantee that along the way somewhere, the words that we have spoken into that have played a part, right? So that's the heart of what we've been talking about. And so therefore, what are you sowing? So
I was going to say as well, we definitely had an intentional moment very early on in our marriage where we said we will not say the D word. We will never talk about divorce because we're not going to do that. We're not even going to give it any kind of airtime in our relationship. So I think that's really helped. And we do know people who kind of toss that word around, threatened with the divorce word, and sadly are getting divorced or have gotten divorced. So,
and of course, sometimes there may have been other reasons, and we've talked about some of those things, infidelity, domestic violence, all of that. But yes, I think what you sow plays a part. So let's end with a Jedi challenge, spark insight. I've got a challenge. This, and it might feel related to some of the other things that I've said before, but I think it's critical. Just write a vision for your relationship. Like, what do you want for it, right? And then speak that out. It's, hey, here's what I want for my relationship, and so I'm gonna say that. All right, I'm going to, this is what I want. Part of what I want for us is a great partnership. Part of what I want is for you to thrive. I talk about things that you're doing, coaching, you're speaking, and I'm proud of that. And I share that with you, but I also share it with other people, right? So that's part of what I want to speak. So write a vision for your relationship and speak it. Share it with your partner, share it with your spouse, and speak about it.
That's powerful because you do live out what you speak out.
You live out what you speak out.
What you speak out.
And you've put that out, by the way. So but others are going to take it.
Well, it's mine. I'll come and
they'll attribute it to you.
But no, that's super powerful. And I think what I would say as the spark insight is to really notice what you're saying about your husband when he's not in the room. What are people hearing you say about your husband, your wife, your partner when they're not in the room? That's really key. And part of the book, as I said, my book is now an audio book. So you can get it on Audible, A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations, 31 ways to sow, grow, and flow goodness into your life. Allow the voice of Peju the Spark Abuchi to serenade you. But also it's crucial because you begin to hear what it looks like to center your words on wisdom, on kindness, on hope. So that would be the insight and the resource as a bonus. Get the audiobook.
Love the bonus. Love the bonus. So believe it or not, our time together on this show, together and with
Episode
you,
5
has come to an end. And we have loved just sharing this, and no doubt we're believing that you are thriving through the words that you're hearing.
Defo.
We would love you to, if this is your first time, subscribe.
Welcome again.
Like and
Stay the
share
with us.
We've got so much more planned. We've got a surprise coming up in a future episode. So looking forward to talking about that. But share this. Write comments, leave questions, send questions in, email in the show notes. Do get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, you know this is coming. May the force be with you.
And may your spark always burn bright.
Over and out.
See you soon. Episode 5 over.
Money.